So today I went down to San Diego and met a very interesting guy called Cory. He's set up a company called Chuze Fitness, very successful. They have about 20 locations with more planned. I think they're looking at about 4 to 5 per year. And one of the things that really interested me about Cory and his business was that they were a low-cost club. And I've been in, seen, experienced lots of low-cost clubs around the world, but this was really different. These guys are charging $9.99, and if you didn't know the price tag, you'd be extremely surprised with that price point. So I think it's done something really unique and really different. And the most interesting part is that they come from out of the industry, and what they've learned from their other industry and brought this into their business, I think is really something that sets them apart. So have a listen, let us know what you think, send you some comments, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. So we're here in Chula Vista, which is in the very sunny San Diego. We've barricaded ourselves in a studio, and I'm here with the co-founder, CEO, and owner of Chuze Fitness. So Cory Brightwell, great to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
So Cory, just give us a bit of background. Tell us a little bit about how you got into this business, because I was looking on your profile and you didn't really start in fitness. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes. We started Chuze Fitness in 2008, and
Okay.
prior to that had zero fitness industry experience. However, our families, my family and my dad's business partner, his family, our backgrounds were in the restaurant industry, so hospitality.
Right, okay.
We felt like we had come across an interesting business model in the HVLP, high volume, low price health club when we found out about Planet Fitness. We looked at some of the competition in the area and felt like the consumers were being overcharged and underserved,
Right.
whether it was not a clean facility, poor customer service,
Yeah.
and you're paying $30 to $50 a month. And we just really believed that we could deliver a much better experience. And so in 2008, we opened our doors in Carlsbad, California,
Right.
a small 16,000 square foot box, really with a basic amenity package, and charged $10 a month for it. But really, what we're building today has evolved quite a bit from that, from 16,000 square feet to closer to 40,000 square feet with
Right.
full amenities, whether it was team training, turf areas, kids club, group exercise, pools, jacuzzis, steam room, saunas. And believe it or not, we're still charging $10 a month. But really what we've been able to do in terms of differentiating ourselves from the competition is make sure that we are the best in the industry when it comes to member experience. And we do that through sticking to what we call the basics. And that's customer service, cleanliness, and culture.
Right.
And we spend all of our time and efforts on making sure that our staff, our people inside our clubs, are able to deliver the standards that really surpass any other health clubs in the industry when it comes to how you treat people, how clean you keep the facilities, and the atmosphere that you create.
Right. And take me back to the restaurant industry. How did you go from, I suppose, food into fitness? Was that something you've personally been interested in, or?
Well, I grew up watching my dad and my godfather, his business partner, grow their restaurant chain. It was called Super Salad. It was in the Southwest United States. They grew it to 60 units, very successful. It was a value concept in terms of, when I say value, I don't mean cheap. I mean what you get for what you pay.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of value for what you paid in their concept. It was one of the first salad bar buffet style concepts, and they really hammered down and were the best in the industry at really delivering an exceptional product, exceptional service, and presentation. And so I grew up seeing that, every single day, go to work with my dad and watch him do what he did, and understood what customer service really meant through the eyes of my dad or my godfather. And so they truly are and have been the mentors behind the success of Chuze Fitness and teaching us young guys. My godfather's son is also involved. He's our COO.
Right.
I've known him since birth, and we've been able to really see firsthand what standards of execution we want and how we want to represent ourselves as health club operators, and being part of a community that really changes what was being presented in the health club industry. There was a lot out there that we were not impressed with, and we felt like, again, we could come in and do a much better job at delivering this experience. And we drew so much from the restaurant industry, the hospitality industry. This is an experience. This isn't just you check in and you go do your workout. We want this to be fun. We want this to be enjoyable. For a lot of people, it's not fun to work out. And I'll admit that I struggle occasionally, And so what can we do to make sure that when somebody walks through our doors, they're welcomed like family and they feel like home, so that there's fewer barriers for them to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go work out today. Or maybe there's something else beyond just the workout bringing them into the club. It's the friendliness of the staff, because they know them and they make them feel like family. So really, we just tried to draw upon our experience in the restaurant hospitality industry and bring a new feel to the health club industry when it comes to service and then presentation. We are paranoid and very militant about how clean we keep our facilities. You'll see our staff cleaning all day, every day. We're never clean enough. We're always going to be trying to make sure this place is spotless and completely, pristine for everybody walking through the doors.
Yeah. So. It's interesting you mentioned those two things, because when I just arrived 10 minutes ago, and so I came in the door, and one of the first things I noticed was the lady who was on reception, who was just unusually sort of friendly, and noticed a big smile and very helpful, asking questions. And so first impressions, and I know it's something that you hear about a lot in the industry, and everyone says, get the reception right. But you saying that and my first impression, went hand in hand. And we've been driving for an hour, so went along to the restroom, and there was a guy spraying stuff like in the middle of the changing room, spraying and cleaning. So what you've said marries up to my first experience in there.
Good.
How much of that, because there's obviously a huge amount of competition, particularly where you are. Would you sort of, how much of your business is, I suppose, traditional fitness compared to kind of what sounds like is the sort of key things of the restaurant industry brought into a fitness business? How would you?
Well, we certainly are not reinventing the wheel when it comes to the fitness aspects of what we offer in terms of our amenity package. We have treadmills, we have strength machines, we have free weights. It's nothing new or different. But the way that it's delivered is different and better in the experience. And we've brought several different aspects that we've found in the industry that other competitors are doing well, and we've brought them inside our box, and we feel like we're doing them better and offering them for a better price. For instance, our team training program. We're sitting in this studio right now, and you get an amazing 50-minute HIIT workout, and it's unlimited access to these sessions for only $40 a month. And then not only do you get access to these HIIT sessions, but you have an entire health club along with it. So, the traditional fitness part is still obviously a huge aspect of the amenity package and the build-outs and equipment offering that we have. But really what makes that effective is the people around that, and the people taking care of that, and the people really directing the exercises and the workouts among those traditional fitness amenities that you're talking about. So again, we don't try to reinvent the wheel. We certainly try to make it better, though.
Yeah. And you sort of mentioned people, and again, the third thing I noticed, we came and wandered, we were just walking around, and one of your trainers came along, the guy we met outside, and started talking to us, took us through the program. And in a business like you've got, how many, 20 locations is it?
22.
Yeah.
22.
How do you keep that sort of, how do you keep that engagement from the front office staff and the trainers to sort of, share that vision that you obviously had for the business when you've got, I can see how it works in one site because you're here and you're around, but you're probably not in a lot of your sites every day. How do you make that work?
Well, that you hit the nail on the head, because that's the key, and it's not easy, and we battle with it constantly. But we spend so much of our time and energy making sure that the people we recruit and select to bring inside our organization fit the culture, fit the behavioral styles that we need when it comes to how we would want them to interact with members and how we would like them to treat people in general. And that's the first step of making sure that you're moving in the right direction with your people, is recruiting and selecting the right fit, not just picking anyone and trying to make them into the right fit. So we do a lot of diligence on the front end of our hiring process to make sure that whoever we're bringing into this organization is going to be a behavioral fit and a cultural fit. And then beyond that, once they are into the organization, we make them family. We make them feel like family. You treat them like family, they're going to treat your members like family. And I think pretty quickly they start to realize how intense we truly are about the customer experience, and how important every single interaction you have with a member throughout the facility is above and beyond anything else we care about. And they buy into it. And oftentimes that's when you're able to grow an organization and scale, is when you have the people to do it. And the key truly is also the leaders in our organization. They, as you said, I'm not able to get into every club every day. Sometimes not any clubs on a particular day, but the leaders that are running these markets for us, they're present. They're in the trenches with their teams. They're setting the example. They're not in an office running numbers. They're focused on our number one priority, which is the members. And they're setting the example, and their leaders beneath them are doing the same thing, because they see their supervisor doing it. So it's but like you said, it's not easy. It's a constant struggle to make sure that the people you're bringing into the organization and the people that you have in your organization are truly setting the standard that you want. And as you scale, you get further and further away from that nucleus. So it's even more important that the leaders you're putting in place to take your place are doing it as good or better than you were. And that's going to be a constant battle, but it's we're going to put relentless effort into it forever, and never let up on making sure that the people we bring in are the right fit, and once they're in, they're family. And you're in the circle of trust.
And there's a couple of levels on that then. So you've got the general, how they approach new customers and just general customer service. But then I guess you've got another level which is different to a lot of low cost. You're a low cost club, $9.99. That's pretty. If you see what's in it, that's pretty amazing. How do you then get trainers as well? Because good at customer service, but then in terms of their skills, you've got a kind of a boutique club within club concept that we're seeing at the moment. How do you then get them so the quality of what they're actually delivering is good when you're operating on that sort of low cost type of offering?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost are the coaches that we recruit and hire for our team training program, which is the room we're sitting in right now. We still first focus on the cultural and behavior fit. If they don't have that, I don't care what types of certifications or education they have, it's not going to work out with Chuze. You can be the smartest exercise physiologist in the world, but if you can't come in and be kind to people and know how to treat them properly and make them have a good experience and deliver the culture and atmosphere that Chuze is well known for, it's unfortunately not a fit for us. So we still focus on that aspect first. And then beyond that, we've got a great director of our team training program who's always very on top of ensuring that certifications and education fit what we need to deliver inside of these studios. And beyond that, how to really apply that in this type of setting. We attract often beginner to intermediate gym users, meaning they're not experts, they're not coming in here running triathlons and doing Ironman, and they are new to fitness or recently new to fitness, and our goal is to help them improve their routine and hopefully get to a point where they do feel comfortable walking in and knowing what to do, even outside of the team training studio. So as advanced as some of the education might be of some of our coaches, it's really how can you communicate that to your members? How does that translate into showing them and helping them go through a workout that doesn't kill them, but pushes them to the next level and challenges them and educates them while being safe. Yeah. So that's, and again, it's not, you're not going to find it just by looking at someone's resume and checking off the box that they've got a good certification or a good education, but how can they put that to use and how can they communicate it? And communicating to a group of 24 to 36 people at one time is not easy. You got to be able to multitask. You got to be able to manage many different fitness levels, beginners all the way to experts, and that takes talent. So we've got a very extensive recruit select program beyond checking off the box of culture and behavioral fit. You know, auditioning. Can they multitask? How can they lead a group? And not just make sure that you're attending to all the different levels, but making the charisma effective and fun inside the studio. Like I said, fitness, working out is not fun to many people. So how do you make it fun? You make it fun by having the perfect person on the mic, guiding them through that workout, engaging them, helping them interact with one another, helping them understand and interact with the technology and the science behind the entire workout. And beyond that, I'll go ahead and throw a little plug in here, but the toys that they get to play with. The amazing core bags from Escape Fitness that we have in here. The water rowers, the incline trainers that we have from Free Motion. It's all about, okay, we've got some really fun toys. Let's show these folks how to use them and show them how to have a good time and get them out of here with a great workout and a great attitude, and they'll be coming back and telling their friends.
Yeah. So it sounds like your whatever you call it, HR, your hiring process is a key part of your success. Would you agree with that?
It's the very first step in being successful for us.
Right.
You know, once we realized we wanted to grow and open 4 to 6 locations a year, we knew we needed a very rigorous hiring, recruiting, and selecting process. It's tedious. It's not easy, and we don't bat 1,000, but we definitely have improved our batting average over the years by making sure that we're keying in on the important aspects of who you're bringing into your organization.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a huge point.
And what about innovation? Because being operating at the value end of the market, I guess you've got to be fairly disciplined in terms of your numbers and what you bring in and what works and what doesn't. And we're sitting in a space which you've obviously committed to a lot of rental income too. How do you balance innovation from sort of keeping to a real strict business model? If you compare yourself, you mentioned some other brands earlier that are in that market. How do you do that? Because I wouldn't say you're a traditional sort of high volume, low cost, because you're pretty innovative in the outdoor space that you've got there. How do you sort of toe that line?
Well, early on, I think it was helpful coming from outside of the industry and not being stuck in the box of what defined a health club.
Yeah.
So I think our team it's not just me, it's our entire team has brought a new vision to what you can gain in a health club or what you can find in a health club, or how it looks or how it's presented, how the people are. So we've got a good group of leaders that bring great creativity and great ideas to the forefront, and it's all focused on, okay, if we do this, how does it affect the member experience? If we put this piece of equipment in here, how is that perceived by a member? How is their experience going to be? If we add this amenity into our box, what is the member experience going to be, and how is it going to improve? And so, as I mentioned about when we started, we built a 16,000 square foot box that had real basic amenities, and we were charging $10. And here we are, 10 years later, building 40,000 square foot boxes with many more amenities, much more equipment and offering, and still charging $10. Our goal has always been, okay, how can we it's not been how can we extract more from the members, but how can we cram more into what they're already getting and what they're already paying.
Yeah.
So how can we continue to add more value into that $10 price point, or 20, or the 40, because those are our 3 membership tiers.
Yeah.
So taking that perspective allows you to add value to a price point that you've already created and is already pretty much what your brand is identified with. And from there, yes, of course you have to justify, okay, these are the additional costs by putting that in there. But let's talk about the additional perceived value that you're going to get from it. If you decide to build a pool and cram that into the $20 price point, which is what we do, how many more members are we going to get to go up to that $20 price point? How many more people are they going to tell because there's a pool?
Yeah.
How much more value do they see from the 10 to 20, knowing that they can use a pool or a jacuzzi or sauna or steam room? So there's definitely a lot of thought that goes into it, but really the basis is how can we continue to add value to those existing price points?
But with a strong, what it sounds like is there's also a strong financial part to, okay, we want to experiment and innovate, but how does that link into the sort of the numbers at the end of the day?
At the end of the day, you have to make sure that your return on investment makes sense.
Yeah. And who does that? Have you got a strong sort of financial mind in the group that you're...
We do, yeah. So I'm a big part of that, as well as our CFO.
Right.
And and then beyond the 2 of us, we always poll the group as a whole. We have 5 co-founders who are all dearly vested into the success of this company, and we're never afraid to bounce things off of one another to make sure that we all feel this is the right direction or the right decision to make.
Yeah.
So
what it seems like part of your success is your sort of hiring, recruitment part. You've obviously got a strong financial element, so they're not just reckless decisions following what trends are going on in the industry. They seem to be well calculated. The other thing I noticed a lot, which is quite unique in the industry, to be honest, is the attention to detail from a sort of design perspective. You showed me the new logo. Looking outside, everything's very color coordinated. It's brand led. Tell me a little bit about that decision. Why do you do that? Why you think it's important, which you obviously do.
Well, attention to detail is right up our alley, especially if you're talking about cleanliness. And so, we certainly didn't start this good, but we evolved into what you're seeing today.
Right.
And we were able to do that through many different reasons. I spend a lot of time visiting clubs throughout the country and seeing what other competitors and friendly competitors are doing. People I'm networking with. I spend a lot of time focusing on other industries as well, hotels, restaurants, and just seeing how they're building their facilities out, what types of finishes they're using, what types of color, lighting, so on and so forth. And we were fortunate enough to bring in an in-house design team 3 years ago, and her name is Heather, and she does a really great job of being able to take my vision and put it into reality with these different finishes, these different fixtures, color coordination, so on and so forth. So I guess I could say, I definitely will have a vision, but I can't put it on paper, and she can. Yeah. So it's been great having her in-house and part of the team, and really that's the attention to detail is where it needs to be, because those are the kind of things that maybe a consumer might not consciously notice, but subconsciously the value's there, because they just walk in and they see it, just everything flows well and it's put together well and it just feels good. So, again, they're not going to notice, hey, I noticed that you use this type of floor transition over here, but maybe they don't notice it, and that's what you're wanting them to do. So, I think it's a combination of taking different aspects I've seen in other health clubs, other industries, whether it's restaurants, hotels, and then applying those to some sort of a vision, and then using experts like our in-house design team to put them into reality.
Yeah. Certainly, if you took the sign down, which how much it costs, and did a tour, then I would never have put that price point on this. It'd have been you certainly raised the sort of perception of what it's worth, and then when it's, I'm sure your closing ratio is pretty high.
Well, that's our goal, and our goal is to make it feel, when somebody comes in to get a tour, like they should be paying $50 to $75 a month, and then to be able to present them with these $10 and $20 and $40 price points, it's an easy sell.
Yeah.
And we don't, for that exact reason, we don't have a sales team.
Right.
Everybody gives tours, everyone signs members up, everyone cleans. It's a team effort.
Okay.
I don't care if you're the manager or you're the part-timer that works a couple times a week. We all do everything, and we're in this together. So.
Yeah. And what about you, coming down to you now as an individual? Where do you go to get your ideas and inspiration? What you read stuff, go out and see what feeds you?
Yeah, I definitely. I'm part of a roundtable group called Rex Roundtables,
right.
And that gives me some exposure to what other club owners are doing throughout the country, and so that's always a key aspect of, knowing what others are doing and seeing if I want to take something they're doing and bring it back to my box, or tweak it and adjust it to be slightly different to fit within what Chuze would want to deliver. And then, like I mentioned before, I always love going to great businesses in general, whether it's a restaurant or a hotel, a theme park, and notice good customer service, or notice beautiful build-outs, or different types of materials, or lighting, or design, and figure out how to incorporate that. Technology is a big factor in today's world, obviously. And then, beyond that, I would...
Or any books you follow, or...
Beyond that, I'm a big subscriber and believer in Harvard Business Review.
Okay.
I used to... When I travel a lot, and I used to be in airports always looking at the newsstands, thinking, you know what, I need to be reading a business magazine, and I would flip through the Incs and the Fortune 500s and Forbes, and I would feel like half the stuff I'm reading is about a tech startup, and it was over my head, and I couldn't understand it, and I wasn't smart enough to read these things. And then I came upon Harvard Business Review, and I would flip through those pages, and other than the price point scaring me off a little bit, I would notice that a lot more of it was focused on culture and leadership and customer service, consumer experience. And so I was really drawn to that aspect. It felt like there was more of the human element to a lot of the publications they were putting out and articles they were putting out. And so about 3 years ago, I subscribed to Harvard Business Review, and I love it. I actually had the opportunity of meeting with the editor-in-chief back in June and talking about the role of small businesses in our country and in the global economy as well. So big believer in HBR, and I find that I get a lot of new, innovative team building, leadership ideas from Harvard Business Review.
And they do a pretty good free email. I don't know if you get that as well.
Yeah, they do.
Decent.
Yeah.
And what about your own personal? You obviously work out. What's your thing? What do you like to do when you're...
Well, I have a 1-year-old, and saying I work out would be a big overstatement right now. I know, I do. I still sneak them in once in a while, but I'm just now slowly getting back into things after getting through that first year of having children. But my regiment, I definitely hop into these team training sessions as much as I possibly can. I try to get these once or twice a week, and then I also swim.
Right.
I swim twice a week, and if I can do a yoga session, I will do that. Flexibility is pretty important, and I'm very inflexible. So,
me too.
If I can get 3 to 5 days, 3's average, 5 is lucky, but that's my regiment, and I really enjoy coming into our team sessions because I lack motivation to just go create my own workout. I need somebody yelling at me, telling me what to do in a nice way.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really enjoy our team training sessions. Yeah.
And what about final thing? What's the future for Chuze? What would be your ambition for it? Are you building it to sell? Are you sound like you love being in it, but
Yeah, we partnered with an equity partner 2 years ago, and just as with most private equity groups, they probably are looking at a 5 to 7 year turnaround. So there may be a liquidity event in the future, but that's not where my head's at. I'm looking at this as a long-term career. I love what I do. I love the people I work with, and our goal right now is to open 4 to 6 clubs a year. It's good growth, but it's not crazy. We're not trying to be the biggest, but we want to be the best, and that's where our heads are at and what we're focused on for now. And we'll see what the future holds for us. But for now, it's going in a great direction, and we've got a great team that's taken us to the next level.
Yeah. You sound as though you've got a great concept. You're pretty unique, and I wish you all the success. So thanks so much.
Thank you very much for having me. All right.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, then please go over to iTunes and subscribe to the Escape Your Limits podcast. Leave a review, leave a comment. It really would help us a lot to continue to keep these going.